Hi friends, I Srinath Pandav welcome you all to CSC Specialist. In previous video lectures, we have seen or we have covered the topics about basic terminologies to understand the polity subject. Then we have covered historical background. We also covered the making of Indian Constitution. In today's topic, let us have a look over the preamble. First, let us see the various views of scholars on the preamble. Palkiwala said preamble as the identity of the constitution. Another scholar, K.M. Munshi, called preamble as the horoscope of democratic sovereign republic. And Pandit Thakur Das Bhargav called it as a soul of constitution. Supreme Court in Berubari Union case taken the view on preamble that it has the keys of minds of makers of constitution. Hence, these are the various views of the scholars. Now, let us look at the some of the facts related to the preamble. US Constitution was the first to have preamble. Preamble act as the introduction or preface to the constitution. Indian preamble has been formed based on the Nehru's objective resolution, which was adopted on 22nd Jan 1947. And the most important fact is preamble has four aspects. The first aspect is source of constitution. Second, nature of Indian state. Third, goals or objectives of preamble. And last, date of adoption. In the first aspect, that is source of constitution, the main source is the people of India. In nature of Indian state, it contains sovereign, socialistic, secular, democratic republic. Goals or objectives of Indian constitution has equality, liberty, fraternity, justice, integrity and unity. And date of adoption 26 November 1949, which is celebrated as Constitution Day. Now let us see in detail about the sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and later the equality, liberty, fraternity, justice, integrity and unity. First, sovereign. Here sovereign means ultimate decision making authority, and in India the ultimate decision making authority is head of the state and head of the government. Why this sovereign objective is important? It is important because we as the state not to get influenced by other countries for our own decisions. If we are getting influenced by other countries for our own decision, means we are not truly sovereign. For example, India till 15 August 1947 was a colony, and from 15 August 1947 to 26 Jan 1950, India was independent state with dominion status. What exactly the dominion status means? It is a form of self-governance within the British Empire granted to certain colonies. Hence, India was a independent state with a dominion status. And lastly, on 26 Jan 1950, India became sovereign republic. Now there is no external control or dominion status. Sovereign, there exist two types. One is external sovereignty and another one is internal sovereignty. External sovereignty means country having all authority to determine its relation with other countries. Example for external sovereignty is there was a regional comprehensive economic partnership. In short, we call it as RCEP. It was formed by few countries including China, Australia, New Zealand and various others. The RCEP was for free movement of goods within these countries. India have not signed this RCEP. Hence, we can say that it has a external sovereignty because India took its own decision to not sign it. Why India have not signed? If RCEP has been signed, New Zealand and Australia are famous for the milk and dairy products which are very cheap, and China is known for its electronic gadgets in low price. If India would have signed the RCEP, it would have harmed Indians, especially the Indian farmers and the Indian manufacturers, because the product from these countries, New Zealand, Australia, China, would have dumped in India and there would be no demand for Indian products and people would have chosen these products, New Zealand, Australia, China's product, for their survival. Hence, it would affect the domestic market. Hence, considering this fact, India didn't sign the RCEP. Hence, India took its own decision to not sign RCEP. It is the external sovereignty. Not only with the country, it is also with regard to the organization, institutions, etc. Now, coming to the internal sovereignty, country having authority to determine its policies and laws on internal issue. For example, Kashmir issue is an internal issue. Hence, India came up with Article 370 repeal in 2017. Hence, I feel that you got the difference between the external sovereignty and internal sovereignty. Now, there comes a concept of compromised sovereignty. Even though a country is truly sovereign, but it has to listen to various organizations, various countries for collaboration and cooperative existence. For example, India is part of WTO. If WTO puts some guidelines or rules, India has to follow it, or in some cases India may not follow, but in general these put obligations on the countries to follow their rules. Not only a WTO, even other organizations like UN, BRICS, etc. Nehru called sovereignty as it is an agreement by free will and to be terminated by free will. Socialist. The socialist is not mentioned in original Indian Constitution. It was added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. The socialist principle is seen in Article 39B and 39C, which are related to the concentration of wealth. That is, the wealth should be distributed equally among the citizens. The 39B and 39C is DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy. Then India follow democratic socialism, that is mixed form of socialism. There is a role of public also and there is a role of private also. Both public and private involvement makes India as a democratic socialism. The aim of socialism is to eliminate inequality and to provide decent standard of living for working people. Deviation of Indian state from socialism. For example, in 1991 we brought LPG reforms, that is liberalization, privatization, globalization. And later also there are instances of interstate and intrastate disparities. Now coming to the secular. It was also not present in original constitution. It was also added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. The values of secularism is found in preamble, DPSP, fundamental right, fundamental duty. If we see the definition of secularism, it is a doctrine that states religion is kept separate from social, political, economic, and cultural sphere of life. India have no state religion, but state shall recognize and accept all religions. That is, not favor or patronize any religion specifically. And in previous lectures we have seen the concept of Western secularism and Indian secularism. Let's have a glance over this again. In Western secularism, there is a complete separation between the state and religion. In India, we follow principled distance, that is, state recognize all religion and accept all religion. And in Western secularism, there is no role of state in religious, but in India we see role of state in religious reform. The Western secularism is a negative concept and Indian secularism a positive concept. In Western secularism, there is no state support to any education institution run by religious minorities. But in Indian secularism, state can aid education institution, hence this is a concept of secularism. Then coming to the democratic. Democracy in India is based on principle of popular sovereignty, that is, people are sovereign and people are power. Hence, the ultimate decision maker are peoples. In democracy, we have direct democracy and indirect democracy. First, let us see about the direct democracy. Direct democracy has 4 tools, that is initiative, recall, referendum, plebiscite. Initiative meaning people initiating law framing, and recall means people calling back representative within tenure, that is elected representative within tenure. And referendum means it is the opinion of people, and plebiscite is opinion of people about territorial issue. In India, there is only a direct democracy at Gram Sabha and not at higher level, and the pure direct democracy is seen in the Switzerland, and the indirect democracy is representative democracy. Other names for direct democracy is participative democracy, substantive democracy, or true democracy. Other name for indirect democracy is representative democracy, formal democracy, electoral democracy, political democracy, or procedural democracy. India comes under the category of representative democracy. There is a famous historian named Ramchandra Guha described India as 50-50 democracy, because in Gram Sabha we follow direct democracy, and in upper level we follow representative democracy. Hence he called India as a 50-50 democracy republic. Here head of the state is directly or indirectly elected. For example, India, USA, France. The meaning of republic is the head should be elected and not hereditary. In Britain, head is still hereditary. The republic also means the public offices are open to everyone. Now let us look the keyword of equality. Equality is absence of special privilege to any section of society and provision of adequate opportunities for all individuals without any discrimination. Hence we can say equality as absence of special privileges to any section of society and provision of adequate opportunities for all individuals without any discrimination. Equality is about equality of status and equality of opportunities. There are three dimensions in equality. One is political equality, where we see it in various provisions like right to vote, right to contest elections, and articles related to these are Article 325 and 326. Then social equality, here absence of social discrimination. Example, Article 14, 15, 17 and 18. And economic equality, absence of discrimination based on economic factors like class and wealth. Various forms of equality, for example, formal equality, that is equality provided in constitution. Then substantial equality, equality not only in constitution but practicing in reality. Then equality of opportunity, here focus is on creating level playing field for all, which is done through quality education, healthcare, skill development of all. Let's look on the liberty. Liberty can be said as absence of restriction on individual activity and providing opportunity for individual personality development. That is absence of restriction on individual activity and providing opportunities for individual personality development. Here there comes a concept of positive liberty. Positive liberty is enhancing capability of an individual. Example, providing quality education, healthcare and skill development. And here we should note that if there is no law, there is no liberty. We can say that liberty of one's start where liberty of another's end. Hence, law makes the liberty effective, and also law provides reasonable restrictions to enjoy liberty. For example, there is a freedom of speech, expression, liberty of thoughts, beliefs, faith and worship through Article 19, 25, 28. But if we use wrong words, then it is not a liberty. Or if we hurt sentiments of other religion, then it is also not liberty. Hence, law is needed for liberty to ensure. Hence, if there is no law, there is no liberty. And this statement has been asked in the UPSC, CSC exam. Then coming to the fraternity. It is a sense of brotherhood. The source for fraternity includes single citizenship and fundamental duties under Article 51A. The fraternity include two things, that is dignity of individual and integration of nation. Hence, fraternity is very much necessary for these two things. Now, let us see, is preamble part of constitution or not? In Berubari Union case 1960, it was held that preamble is not part of Indian constitution. Hence, can't be amended under Article 368. And in Keshavananda Bharati case 1973, Supreme Court said preamble is part of constitution and can be amended. And also in LIC case, found the above statements, that is preamble is a part of constitution and amendment can be done. Now let us see the various facts of preamble. Preamble was amended once, that is true, 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Here the word socialist, secular and integrity were added. And second fact is preamble is non-justiciable in nature, that is you cannot move to the courts saying that there is a provision in preamble and my basic rights have been violated. Then preamble is neither source of power nor prohibition of power for states. And this preamble helps judiciary in deciding cases based on philosophical and ideological brainstorming. For example, Supreme Court in Sabrimala case and Triple Talaq case mentioned preamble is basic Indian philosophy that is need to be adhered. Now let us see the various questions asked in the UPSC CSC exam. In 2017, the question was on makers of mind of constitution. The Supreme Court in Berubari Union case said that preamble is the makers of mind of constitution, and it was asked in the 2017 CSC exam. And also in 2020 there was a question that preamble reflects the principle of UDHR. Not only preamble but also DPSP, fundamental right and fundamental duty reflects the principle of UDHR. Then in 2017 there was a question on goals or objectives of preamble, especially the equality, liberty and fraternity. In CDS 2021 there was a question called John Locke called democratic system as system of government by consent. Hence there was a question on John Locke and government by consent. In liberty there was a question in 2019, that is what exactly the liberty means. Liberty is absence of restrictions and development of individual personality. And in 2018 there was a question on if there is no law, there is no liberty. And in CSE 2023 there were the statements like preamble is overall part of constitution, can be used in interpretation of constitution, non-justiciable in nature, and preamble is independently neither source of power to legislature nor prohibition of power of legislature. Hence, independently it is a neither source nor prohibition of power. But when interpreted with other parts like fundamental rights DPSP, it can become a source and it can become a power prohibition. 2022 there was a question on the day of independence India has sovereign democratic republic. I feel I have covered the preamble topic in detail. For further updates, join the Telegram channel that is given in the description box or in the comment box. Thank you friends.